Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our very special presentation. I am so thrilled this evening to be sitting with the cast, a cast member, the writer-director of The Known Universe, which will be screening after our Q&A. My name is Alex Chester. I am the editor-in-chief and founder of Mixed Asian Media. I am currently residing in New York City on the unceded territories of the Lenape and Kainai people. For a visual description of myself, I have shoulder-length, wavy-ish purple hair with bangs and a headband that has a pattern, a burgundy crop top, some gold chains. I have brown almond-shaped eyes. I am of mixed Asian heritage with light tannish skin. And my background is a beautiful blue ocean-like wall that I painted. And I would love for the panelists to introduce themselves for everyone here. Let's start with you, Scott.
Okay, hi. I am Scott Sickles. I am the playwright of The Known Universe. I am coming to you from Forest Hills, Queens, which I believe is the unceded land of the Canarsie. Visually, I am in the corner of my bedroom. There is a window with Venetian blinds and a two-way exhaust fan behind me. It's not quite as industrial as I think. There's an elegant floor lamp next to me that kind of has a paper screen sort of look to it that's casting a saffron glow around me, but not onto me, so I am in shadow because I can't light myself to save my life. I am wearing sort of a blue print shirt that gives the impression of iciness, which is appropriate for our play. I am let's see, I'm a mixed Asian, mixed Korean guy. I'm a little bearish dude with glasses, scruffy full beard, short hair, and these are the very nice blue round Warby Parker glasses if you need to visualize that much detail. And I am sitting on sideways on a very comfortable recliner. So there you go.
Thank you. Janet, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I too have the Warby Parker glasses on, the nerdy thing. Yeah, Janet Bentley, director, editor, and sound designer, and complete lover of all of Scott's plays, especially this trilogy. I am in Washington Heights, in New York, in Manhattan. Avatar is currently showing as I'm having issues with the internet connectivity. So I kind of have the short blonde hair, with the Warby Parker nerdy glasses, and I'm of a mixture of Scottish and, Eastern European. This picture reminds me of a young Amanda Tapping, actually.
Yeah.
Not that young. I mean, medium. I don't know what else to say, but I'm very, very excited. This piece is going to tear up your heart and make you laugh. Anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. John.
Hi, I'm John Okabayashi. I'm an actor. I play Teddy in The Known Universe. I am on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, which I believe is the lands of the Lenape Canarsie people. I have gray hair and a gray beard. I'm wearing not quite Warby Parker glasses, but they're like, $15 readers from Rite Aid. Yeah. I just need them to read and to see computer screens. I am wearing a black t-shirt in a dark room. I am kind of like a floating head on your screen right now.
Zardoz.
And yeah, I think that's everything, right?
Great. Thank you so much. Well, let's start up. Scott, I would love for you to give our audience a little bit of background on yourself because you're incredibly accomplished. And I think you need to brag a little bit here.
Okay, all right. So I'll try to shift into brag mode because people say you're accomplished. And I'm like, what have I done? But okay. Yeah, I've been a produced playwright since 1988. I identify as an LGBTQ neurodivergent, biracial or mixed Asian writer. Right now, my day job is I'm in my 10th year of writing for the soap opera General Hospital, and so I have racked up an impressive 5 consecutive Writers Guild Awards and 9 Emmy nominations. And when one says 9 Emmy nominations, one means no wins. I have not won. But at least I'm still employed, which is really the best thing about it, and it's an insanely fun job. Yeah, I've been writing for many years. I was writing very much from the gay male perspective, the LGBTQ perspective, and it was only until the 2016 campaign season when the anti-immigrant hatred was starting to be stoked during the run-up to the election, that I decided to put all my contentiousness with my own having issues with my own heritage and my own Koreanness aside, and say, okay, these are my issues. There's something much more important at stake here, and that is our identity, and this our identity as immigrants and first-generation Americans and the children and descendants of immigrants, and that was very important. So I got over myself, and I began writing this particular trilogy from a political standpoint in the first play, Mariana's Trench, and then the second 2 plays, Pangea, and this play, The Known Universe, are more environmental. The second play is a little more scientific, and this play is very philosophical, I think.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue. I would love for you to tell the audience more about the trilogy, and do we need to know the backstory, or can we just go right into?
You should be able to. I mean, that part of the experiment, I think, here is just to make sure that it all makes sense on its own. But I mean, just for and the thing is, there all the things that I can tell you should be things that we tell in the play. It's just that the tricky part in writing a trilogy that is that tells one story over a long period of time is that the first play is a self-contained thing. The second play, you have to get everyone caught up on what happened in the first play, and how do you do that without previously on? And oh, remember the time when we were yes, blah 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 in the previous play. And you can't you have to do that in an interesting way. It has to be pressurized out, where they if there's, especially if 2 people are talking about things that they both know, there has to be a reason for it. Otherwise, why say it? And that's and when you have a third play and you have 2 plays to cover like that, it's a little trickier. That was an especially wonderful challenge in writing the plays. But you'll hear references, and it'll be explained that Teddy and Anzor, who are played by John and Joe Burby, they have they're in their late 50s. And they've been in love since they were 11 years old, before they even knew what the other looked like. What happens in the first play, in Mariana's Trench, you'll hear referred to, is there was a secession. The red states separated from the blue states in an alternate 2019, and Anzor was the son of Chechen refugees trapped in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and he was the sole surviving member of his family who escaped genocide, where everyone who was not a white heterosexual Christian was eventually eliminated. Which is how I figure, if anything, if this secession actually happened in real life, that's how wrong it could go. It would just be wiping everybody out who is different. Whereas Teddy was a very bullied, even by his parents, child in the liberal North. And they were each other's lifelines. And they don't actually meet face to face until the second play, which is set at Teddy's job as a research scientist in Antarctica. So it has that beautiful, like, white sort of landscape. And one of the conceits I love about these three plays is that the first play takes place over an entire school year. The second play takes place over the first 3 days of 2047. It's just January 1, 2, 3, over approximately 48 hours. And the third play takes place almost in real time. So you'll see something that's happening almost in real time. So it gets more and more compressed as it goes on.
Wow, that just sounds so amazing. And I would love to hear from you, Janet. How were you able to take all this information and then throw it into literally a virtual reality space since, pandemic? And what has that been like for you navigating, going from in real life theater to this Zoom space? And I'd also love for you, John, to jump in on that as well. So, yeah.
Well, it helps if you're like deeply passionate about these plays and these people. I got to make sure I don't start crying when I talk about it, because it's been really hard, editing it, because, I was there for the first play. In fact, the last thing I did before the pandemic ended was Mariana's Trench reading at the Bridge Theater at Scheller. And yeah, I'm about to start crying, so let me back off of that topic. But no, it's been really, really hard to go from being an in-person, theater director. Thank goodness, though, I am a sound designer. I do have, composition experience, and I've done that. And I was already getting into video editing. So, I hate Zoom readings. I hate them. I really hate them. So I know Scott does too. And last summer we met about, what are we going to do? Maybe we should do the recording thing. And we're trying to figure out what contract to use, SAG-AFTRA, or, I won't get into that. But eventually we realized, okay, we have to be remote. We can only afford to do a Zoom, like a safe Zoom thing. What we'll do is compromise. We'll try and, do the reading on Zoom, but be very careful and do lots of takes. And, we did Pangea last year, and I felt compelled to do some fun things visually with it. It was really contained, but something about the known universe was the flow of it had it. You don't, like Scott said, real time and some compressed time. It's like a piece of music. You don't separate it with title cards. It is just a rolling event. So I'm like, oh, how do I minimize the amount of voiceover stage directions I need to record, so that we can experience this play through this reading and visual and audio medium as best as we can under these circumstances. And yeah, it's hard, but it's really exciting. So John, you want to talk about your audio stuff?
My audio stuff?
Well, the internet thing, that's the problem with this remote theater. Everyone has to have the perfect router.
Oh yeah, I did have some internet troubles recording.
Yeah.
And we had to do several takes of stuff because the internet wasn't working, or I live right by a precinct, and the sirens would go by, and all these, you get the best take ever, and right at the end you'd hear fire engines flying by and have to redo it again.
But you know what? I mean, that's where also the fact that it's a Zoom reading, you can get away with, having a quick little crossfade to a pickup. People don't expect it to be perfect.
Right.
So I did that a couple times, and it's fine. It's fine.
I think that's in a way, yes, I do agree. For the most part, I've been like, oh gosh, another Zoom reading, great. But I do think that it has opened up this possibility of creating something really unique and special and engaging for audiences that normally wouldn't be able to see something like this. And especially for our audience, who is all over the country and in different countries right now as well. And that's something really cool that we get to share of our mixed Asian media family, especially this play, because please correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the two main leads specifically of mixed Asian heritage? Scott?
Actually, only one of them is one, but we have three mixed Asian characters, two of whom are the same person.
Okay.
So there's Teddy, and in flashbacks, there is Lincoln. Both Teddy and Anzor, when they met in the second play, were going by different names they used than the ones they used as children, because it's basically for traumatic reasons. They both had suffered traumas, and um, Teddy is his middle name. He started going by his first name because Teddy was a kid's name. Lincoln is more of an adult name. He started using that, but partially because he had lost Anzor. He thought Anzor had died, where Anzor had escaped a genocide, and where his ethnicity was an issue, having been a child of Muslim. So the religion he inherited that he did not practice was an issue. So he anglicized his name to Andy. So in the second play, they're Lincoln and Andy. And when we see them in flashbacks in this play, they're referred to as Lincoln and Andy. So Teddy and Lincoln are the same person at different ages. Anzor and Andy are the same person at different ages. But Teddy / Lincoln, they are described in the character descriptions as they're half Korean, mixed Korean, which the other half is it always annoys me because when you say half Korean, one assumes white. It's just like, yeah, it's the way it is. But also, if you can get the right cast, it doesn't have to be. So that's you can play with that, and if you have an Afro-Asian Teddy and a Korean, his father is Korean and his mother is African American, you can do these things. You can do it with all these combinations, and I think that would bring other dimensions. In this play, the other mixed Asian character is that Teddy and Anzor have two boys. One who are from the same mother, who is someone that they worked with in Antarctica, a friend of theirs who lives with them, Drazana, and they are each of them is the biological father of one of their children, one of their two boys. So Anzor and Drazana are the biological parents of the older boy Mason, and Julius is the biological child of Teddy and Drazana. So they had like one of each, and it's we have wonderful actors, wonderful adult actors playing the two boys they're just delightful. But I also wanted to say that the play itself, whereas Teddy's Asianness is very much a factor in the first play. He is bullied for his Asianness. He is also bullied at home because he is because they're very Asian constructs of masculinity and strength that he is not living up to as an 11-year-old boy who is not athletic. So that's like at this point I could write off my entire childhood, and so it's just like boom, done. But yeah, and in the second play, whereas Teddy's specific Asianness is not necessarily a factor. The other character, it's another character that John played, because John's been in all three plays in readings at one point or another. But they're talking about family members who survived the genocide in the new Confederate States, and it was some Asian people who were related to this character who had survived, who had been in hiding for 25 years. So there's a whole lot of politics going in this trilogy, but also in this play, the Asianness I think is referred to once ever so blithely by Mason, the older Caucasian son, because they in this particular family dynamic, they already know they're gay. They already know they're Asian. They don't need to talk about it. They already know. And as we're fond of saying when we're discussing, playwrights are discussing, you're representing your ethnicity in your work. I didn't wake up wondering, gee, how am I going to be half Korean today? How am I going to be the best part white, part Asian person? It's you go through who you are, and you do what you do, and that's what's happening in this play.
I love that so much. I mean, obviously, as a mixed Japanese woman, it's so nice to hear that you have created this world for these actors and to play in. And I have to think how cool it has been for John and Scott and the other mixed APIs in your cast to be in this space where they can just be without so much having to explain themselves, both in the script and just hey, this is who I am. Let's be friends, without being like, oh, and this is what my background is. This is where my family's from. What are you? All those things that come with being someone of mixed origin.
Yeah, I know that I can speak a little bit for Nick Jensen, who plays Julius, because he first did a reading of Mariana's Trench playing Teddy as an 11-year-old. And it's a very different child than the child he's playing in this. But he said he never thought he would ever get to play, a queer Hapa, much less a queer Hapa child. And here he was, and it was just very, I don't want to put words into his mouth, but it was akin to dream come true. And I know Keith and I, Keith Allen, who is mixed Asian, we talked about his background, which I think is Italian and Chinese. I can't remember, but it's just, but yeah, we talked about this because it's the subtle differences that in like bone structure and whatnot that you notice when you're Asian. You notice that Korean people and Japanese people and certainly Southeast Asian people have different looks about them. It's like if you ever watch the movie Memoirs of a Geisha, you wonder, like, why does that one woman look different from everyone else? Oh, she's the only Japanese person in this movie about geishas. It's just like,
yes,
you noticed? But yeah, so I'm like, everyone else is Chinese and Malaysian, but it's just yeah. So it's but here it was I hope we provided a good safe space to relax on that.
It sounds like you definitely did, and I just have to say, like, as my experience as an actor, I can count on my hand the amount of times that I've gotten to play a mixed Asian person, and I think that's 0, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I did do a musical, and we were like, we're gonna make her mixed Asian in her little speech that she gets to make up every night, but the character wasn't actually written as a mixed Asian. So I can honestly say I have never had that privilege, and I can only imagine how cool that must be for everyone and for you to see brought to life. And I just know for having this community and organization that I have, Mixed Asian Media, and being surrounded by other mixed APIs has been very healing and very cool not to have to constantly explain ourselves. I mean, granted, we have talked about the traumas and the intersectionalities and the, oh my God, I don't belong when I go into this space, and how do I navigate this space? But how cool to be an actor and walk in and be like, yeah, I'm just getting to be me for a change. That's, I mean, yeah, it's acting, but I don't know, I just think that is just so unique, and I think it's so exciting, and I can't wait to see this production. And congratulations, like, seriously, I can probably count on my hands the amount of mixed Asian writers in this industry that I've actually seen published work done in New York City. It's very slim.
It is very slim, and what's interesting to me is that because I identify that way on my bio, but I have a German last name. And what's fun is that some of the Asian actors I work with in various stages of development have German last names, and it's just so and I'm thinking, as a writer, as an actor, there's the German last name, but you still see the face, whereas as a writer you see the script, and I'm thinking, Sickles isn't doing me any favors in the Asian theatrical community, but it's my name, it's the one I got, so yeah.
Yeah, we tend to be like, when we come across someone with either an Asian last name or a Eurocentric last name, we're like, wait a second, okay, adopted or mixed is what we tend to try to figure out. I guess, John, how has it been being in this space where your mixedness is and you're getting to work with a mixed playwright? Like that's just so cool to me.
Oh, it's very cool. It's it also, you know, in the past, I have to spend some amount of time and energy, you know, when I'm creating these roles and I'm working them up to like sort of justify, if to no one else, to myself, like how I belong in the world of a play as a mixed Asian. So it's really refreshing to walk into a room and have a script and it just applies, and I don't have to spend any time working on a backstory as to how I got here in the first place. It's just, I belong in this world, and now I can move forward with doing the work for, you know, in service of the story.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm just like so tickled and excited about this. I have to say, another really cool thing about this show is because it's kind of it takes place in the future and it's like this diaspora universe. You know, if you look at many of the sci-fi films that have been produced, they always have like an Asian centricness to it without actually showing any Asian people. A few come to mind. So I think this is really, really cool that, no, they're there, it's here, and why not? And there's no explanation needed. I think Blade Runner pretty much eliminated, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure Blade Runner, the new one. And I was like, oh, look, there's all this Asian writing. Where are the Asians? Nowhere to be found.
Cool. I love that movie, but yeah, it's just like, it's an Asian aesthetic that sort of gives the whole futuristic quality to the it's you know, it's like, oh, I guess we didn't pay off our loans to whatever language that is, but
yeah, we're good enough to be props and background dressing, but never quite good enough to be the leads, right?
There you go. Yeah, it's annoying.
It's so annoying, but you're changing that, and it's so.
Oh.
You are. I mean, you are paving the path for others, and you should be really proud. All of you here should be so proud of the work you are doing. We have only a few minutes left before we start your amazing show. Is there anything else you would like to leave the audience with? John, Janet, Scott?
I don't know. I hope people enjoy the play, and I hope they seek out the other plays. And if you are with a theater or know a theater that might be interested in, you know, doing the plays, they are available. So yeah. So yeah, but I just hope that that the play reaches out to people, especially it's difficult to be different anyway, and it's difficult to be queer, and it's difficult to be Asian, in a very white heteronormative universe, and to be both of those things was no picnic. So and so I think that I hope that even with this particular apocalypse set play, I'm hoping that that how much the characters and the circumstances value life is resonant with people.
Beautifully put. Real quick, where can everyone find you? If they want to stalk you after the show, if they want to email you, if you're comfortable with that, where they can find you on social media?
Facebook and Instagram is also good. I'm Doughboy NYC on Instagram. So that's DOUGHBOY, like Pillsbury Doughboy NYC on Instagram.
Great.
Don't even bother me on Twitter. I don't go there.
Janet Turgey on Instagram, and you can also find me on Facebook.
Wonderful.
You can find me at Okabayashi. That's my phonetic spelling of my last name. On Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and you can also go to Oko Arts on Instagram, and I'm there as well. And I also don't deal in Twitter or TikTok or anything else.
Smart man.
Thanks.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for your time. Now, if you want to watch the show, which you should, you just have to go to our MAM Fest YouTube channel, or you can go to the agenda on the live section and the Facebook event for MAM Fest, and all the information is there. I'm so excited to watch this with you all, and thank you so much for your time and your energy, and it was a pleasure talking to you all.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show!
Enjoy the show.